Hello and welcome to Makeshift Minis. My older sister handed me a bunch of plastic nails, so I decided to make something with scales. With that in mind, today I'm going to be making the Behir, a creature from the 3rd edition D&D Monster Manual. I start by straightening out paper clips to make an armature. After cutting some of the wires in half, I use my pliers to bend them into shape for the legs and hips. Once I've made all the legs, I begin tying them to the main body with a thin wire. It's somewhat annoying to do so because all the pieces keep on moving about when I'm trying to tie it in place. To make sure nothing comes apart, I use hot glue to secure everything in place. While the hot glue cools, I make adjustments to the legs to make sure everything's in a nice position. After I'm done making sure the legs don't go anywhere, I fill out the neck and tail with hot glue. This isn't as useful as I'd hoped, as later when I pose the figure, some of the glue comes off. Once the hot glue is cured, I use my pliers to begin posing the legs. This is harder than it sounds since the mini wants to flop about when I make any movements. After all the legs are in position, I fill them out with hot glue. This has the added benefit that nothing moves anymore. Since I ran out of superglue, I thought it'd be a good idea to attach the mini to the base at this stage. This proves to be a mistake since the base gets in the way of painting and sculpting. Using more wire, I extend the Behir's tail. Once it's firmly attached, I use hot glue to fill it out and help it keep its shape. I glue wire to the head for the frame of the jaw. After cutting the wire to length, I use hot glue to strengthen it and shape the jawline. After cleaning up all the water from cooling off the hot glue, I begin covering the Behir in styrene. The plastic is sculpted in acetone so it can be sculpted, and when it cures it's pretty sturdy. Once most of the mini's covered in plastic, I take my time covering the head to make sure I get the shape right. As I mentioned earlier, I was given a bunch of plastic nails. So using a bit of plastic, I glued down the nails to the Mini so it has scales running down the back. After covering most of the Mini, I cut nails in half so I can add smaller scales to the legs. The gummy plastic is fairly useful to sculpt and hold things down, but it smells awful. To make the feet, I add bits of plastic to the ends of the legs. I then use my knife to cut the plastic and shape the toes. The scales are wider than the tail itself, so I use my knife to cut off the overhang. After I'm done trimming the scales, I use sandpaper to smooth everything out. Most art I've seen of a Behir has the creature depicted as blue or purple. With that in mind, I give the figure a base coat of blue. After dealing with a lot of frustration of trying to paint the underside while it was attached to the base, I decided it would be best to remove the Mini. Now that I have it free, I dry brush the areas without scales a light blue to bring out the surprisingly organic textures in the plastic. I paint halfway up each of the scales using a purple glaze. The effect turns out fairly nice, but I probably should have added a few more coats. Once the paint dries, I try my hand at edge highlighting all the scales pink. Each of the scales really stand out from each other, but I'm thinking I might have wanted to go with a darker shade. Using a large brush, I paint the base black before I reattach the Mini. Once the Mini's firmly in place, it's on to the close-ups. I've been meaning to make a Behir for a while, but I could never find a good time to make one. It certainly turned out interesting, and I learned a few things working on this project. Maybe later I'll come up with something else that uses fake nails. please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Take care, be well, and until next time.